G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today I'm going to do a little intro to the whole building process of the Linkwitz Lx521 speaker system. I've since last sort of mentioning it, I think, in a community post, worked out how to do some still photos and then talk under those or over those photos so that I can go right back to before the channel was had even launched, which was October of last year. And so I was building this system before that, and or the beginnings of it. So this first video is going to be obviously my introduction now, and then I'll talk you through some of the pictures that I took to give to Paul at the time, for Paul to see what was happening as the cabinets were going together. And then after that, I can then move into some video that I took of the building of the new baffles, which you've seen. I've already spoken in a previous video about the failing of the HDF baffle. So I'll talk a little further about that, and I'll string all this together over however many episodes it takes, just to talk you through the whole process and show you what I did with essentially a kit that came over from Germany and essentially a flat pack, and built that speaker system to get to where you saw it toward the end. And then from there, I'll be flying up to Paul's to do the installation of this system. I think that's happening later on this month. So this series will take some time to get through because some of it's still not shot, obviously. So I will shoot some of that video of traveling up to Paul and then unpacking the system, which is all ready to go at my end. It'll be picked up later on this week, I believe, and heading up to him. And then we'll go through that process of unpacking the system at Paul's house, setting it all up. I'll show you how I voice the system and how I get all the system tuned in. So you'll see how that all happens in real time. And then we'll have a chat to Paul at the end of all of this and get his thoughts on the system and how he feels about it. And you'll get my thoughts and Paul's thoughts. So this is the beginning of this series. The first video that comes after this intro will be essentially just talking you through the pictures that I took when I was doing the assembly of the bridge and the base units. I'll also touch on some of the video of the original HDF top baffles, some of the things I did, some of the shortfallings and misgivings, and there were some to talk about in this kit. There's no doubt about it. So I'll talk to those when they come up in the pictures and in the videos. So I hope you enjoy this series. It could be 4 or 5 episodes long, may even be 1 or 2 more. I'm just not sure. I'll sort of space them out to be about 10 minutes long or thereabouts, and we'll step through this whole process together. Please, if you've got any comments, leave them below. Talk to me about any questions you might have. As now somebody who's built this speaker system, I have a pretty good idea and understanding about how it all works, and I'll only be too happy to answer your questions. Other than that, please like the videos if you're enjoying what I'm doing here, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It really helps the channel grow and helps me to get my perspective on high-end audio out to as many people as possible. And if we can grow the family, obviously that makes a big difference to what I can show you here on the channel, what I can review, and all of that will just help the channel grow. So all I can ask is for you to do that for me, and that's all I need. So thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for the pictures and my talking underneath those. Bye for now. Okay guys, here's the boxes as they arrived from Germany. Okay, here are the boxes broken down with all the various panels, showing you they are all sitting there ready to start assembly. Here's the box with all the drivers in them, and here they are all being pulled out so that you can see where everything laid out is after the boxes were broken down. There's a little bit of damage to one of the base driver boxes. Here's what's in the base driver boxes. Here's a few pictures of the top baffle. As you can see, they are quite thick veneers on the HDF, really quite generous in that regard. Here's the 221 Sikaflex construction adhesive I used.
These pictures show applying the adhesive to the bridge panels. Okay, this is the top of the bridge with the biscuits in place through the slotted holes before I put the adhesive together to glue the bridge together. Here's one of the bridges clamped together. Here's a look at the other one. As you can see, getting the panels straight up and down is really important. And here they both are all clamped up, ready to go. Here they are in the sound room, all glued up with some bracing in the bottom, just to keep them nice and straight as they dried up. A few more pictures showing that. Here's a breakdown of all the parts used in the base units. Here's one of the side walls with the biscuits and dowels all inserted in it, ready to go for the next part. So after gluing, I sat both the upper and lower and the two baffle plates in, which is what you can see here. Here's another angle of it. This is the small drop down section at the top on the front, looking at the front of the baffle. You can see all the slots where the biscuits go in on this picture. Okay, in this picture you can see all of the internal structure. I'm about to put the other side wall on and make it all as one. You can see where all the biscuits and the dowels are placed. We glue around all of those and then put the other side wall in place. Here's the other side wall being positioned and seated. And here is the end result, one done. So now it's up to me to clamp everything and protect all the veneers and wait for the glue to go off, and then the unit is completed. Some more pictures of the clamping that went on from the front. Essentially, this is both the baffles now completed and being clamped up, glued, and waiting for them to dry. And here's the end result, the bridges and the base units all glued together, ready to go. Just need to install drivers in them next. Here's another angle of that. This is the piece of timber which essentially was balsa wood that they give you to mount the speak-on connector into, which we didn't like and didn't use. An inside angle of that. The next thing we decided to do was put some Livos furniture oil on the veneers to protect them and bring them up to a lovely luster. The one on the right is done, the one on the left isn't. Here's what the bridges looked like after they were done. As you can see, they looked fantastic after they had the oil on them. And here are the base units completed, now with the oil on the top baffles as well. Next was to use some aluminium box tube, cut it up into shape and use it as a mounting plate for the binding posts we ended up using instead of the speak-on connector. Here's one cut to size and just sitting in there to show essentially what we were planning on doing with this project. I drilled some holes and then mounted the binding posts in place to get a bit of an idea as to how all this might look. This is the option we eventually went with. By offsetting the binding posts, we needed to cut some more material out of the bridge and extend the aluminium. This is how much material needed to be cut out. After the material was cut out of the bridge and the aluminium was cut to size, this is how it looked just sitting in the space I'd made for it. Here's another look from the inside. After marking out the binding posts and drilling the holes, this is what we ended up with. I did the same thing with the binding posts for the base units, and here is two of them cut up, ready to go. Here's another angle to show you what I did. And here they are with the binding posts in them. As you can see, everything was ready for paint after that point. Here they are hung up outside, already primed, ready to start putting some satin black paint on them. Here are the base unit binding posts, and here we go after some black had been applied to the pieces of aluminium. Here they are going into the bridges. As you can see, it was a pretty decent colour match. Here's a look at the base units after the aluminium was put in place and glued in. As you can see, it's starting to look pretty nice now, with all the wiring done and the binding posts in place. By this stage, we had all of the drivers installed in the base units and the wiring all hooked up, ready to go. In these next pictures, I'll show you what happened with the front baffle and how it actually failed. As you can see, the material is very crumbly and dry, and it's failed where the screws go through into the material on the bridge. This material was quite crumbly and very weak in the end, and here's a picture of the break on the other side of the same baffle. Just completely failed right through the middle of that weakest part of the baffle. This was quite interesting. You can clearly see here the break happened on the other side, right where the screw goes into the base driver unit. Here's a look at it from the top. Here's another look at it when lifting the lower mid-range out. The baffle just fell in half. This is looking at it from the back. Note all the flaky, crumbly pieces on the table. You look in the very foreground, you can see on the tip of one of the shoulders of the baffle, this is on the back of it, you can see where the veneer is chipped. This is some of the damage that happened to these baffles while in transit from Germany. I wonder whether that may have caused some of the fatigue in the material. Okay, so we ordered a new top baffle that came from Germany. Dr. Frank Brenner mailed it to us. This time it was mailed beautifully, as you are about to see in some of these pictures. Lots of protection all around the unit. Everywhere it turned up here perfectly with no scrapes or scratches in the veneers, and it looks to be a perfect top baffle. But as we had lost confidence in this material, we decided we would try something different, which was the aluminium Panzerholz. But again, this looks a lot better packed. If only they were like this in the beginning. So this is the end of part 1 of the speaker build setup for the Linkwitz Lx521s.